What's up, everybody? A lot of people move to Washington, D.C. for work, but they can't decide whether or not they want to live in the city. So today, we're going to compare Washington, D.C. to Maryland, Montgomery County specifically, because it's right outside of D.C., so you can decide which is the better place for you and your family. So let's dive right in. Okay, let's get the obvious out of the way. Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States and is not a state, but in fact a federal district. Maryland, on the other hand, is one of the original 13 states out of the 50. Maryland actually gave some of its land to help create Washington, D.C. back in the day. In fact, Virginia did as well, but then Virginia took it back, so there's that. Maryland is made up of 23 counties plus Baltimore City. D.C. is divided into quadrants. You've got Northeast and Northwest and Southeast and Southwest, with the U.S. Capitol right in the center. It actually was originally designed after Paris, and it's really, truly a very beautiful, beautiful city. Now that we got the lay of the land, let's get to the questions that my clients ask me the most when they're trying to decide between D.C. and Maryland, which has to do with schools and taxes and politics and culture and all that good stuff. But before we do that, let's talk about housing. If you want a single family home in DC versus Maryland, let's just see what you would get if I gave you a budget of, let's just say $1 million. Now I'm just using $1 million just so you can see the comparison between the two and what you could get for your money. So here we have a super cute single family home located in Northwest DC that sold for $990,000. It's built in 1941, which is pretty typical. You're definitely gonna get older homes in DC. Got a cute renovated kitchen, but small, nice hardwood floors, brick fireplace, and a really nice screened-in porch. This house has 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and is around 1,300 square feet of living space. It only has street parking, so no driveway or garage, and a pretty small side yard, but a really nice front porch. Now let's move on to Maryland. This home is $975,000 and is located in Rockville, Maryland, which is about 12 miles from the DC house. Built in 1966, it has 5 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, a nice kitchen, a really nice sized backyard, and an attached 2-car garage. This house is about 2,400 square feet of living space. So I guess you can see the difference. You just get more for your money when you live outside of the city. Your lots will definitely be bigger and your parking will be more inclusive. So let's move on to culture and politics. This is pretty important if you're involved with politics, because if you live in the district, you'll notice if you look around when you're driving, you'll see a lot of license plates that say taxation without representation. This is because DC residents have no representation in the Senate and no voting representation in the House of Representatives. DC does have 3 electoral votes for presidential elections, but that's about it. There is legislation out there trying to make DC a state, but so far it's just not happening. In Maryland, you have 8 U.S. representatives. As of today, 7 of them are Democrats and 1 is Republican. The senators today in 2023 in Maryland are both Democrats. So if having representation is important to you, you may want to choose Maryland. As far as culture, if we're just talking about Montgomery County, Maryland, the culture is very similar to Washington, D.C. Now, if you travel a little bit outside of Montgomery County, further into Maryland, it will tend to be more conservative, but every county is definitely different from each other, so you might want to check different ones out to see what you like. But back to that license plate, taxation without representation. Let's talk about taxes. As far as state income tax, in Maryland, it ranges from 2 to 5.75%. In DC, state income tax ranges from 4 to 10.75%. Sales tax is 6% both in Maryland and DC. Property tax between Maryland and DC is relatively the same. It's probably going to be a little bit more expensive in Maryland, but it definitely depends on which county in Maryland you're buying your property. Now, these are generalities. Every situation is different, and in Maryland, you have many different counties that could have different tax taxes. So you should always consult with a tax professional so you can get the most accurate information for your particular situation. Let's move on to schools and education. First, let's talk about colleges because this is really interesting. In Maryland, you have the University of Maryland, which is comprised of 12 different universities, plus there are 3 other higher education centers which offer in-state tuition. University of Maryland is a great school, and depending on which school your child is applying to, it can be really hard to get into, and in-state tuition is a lot less than out-of-state tuition. And if you have children that are applying to college like I do, this is really important. DC has only one public university, the University of the District of Columbia. But DC has a program called the DC TAG, which stands for Tuition Assistance Grants, that helps offset the tuition of any public university in the entire country. So you basically get in-state tuition for any of the states if you were born in DC. But you do have to qualify, so I'll put the link to TAG below so you can check it out for yourself. There are private universities in both Maryland and Washington, D.C., but since we're focusing on in-state tuition, I'm just going to talk about the public schools because in-state tuition is a lot different than the private schools. As for the public high schools, well, this can be very subjective, and quite honestly, as realtors, we're not supposed to give you our opinion, but instead provide helpful links so you can decide for yourself. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put links to niche.com and greatschools.org in the description below so you can check them out for yourself and see what's the best fit for your child. I can say that Montgomery County, Maryland is known for its very highly ranked public high schools, and there are a lot of choices out there. So if you are thinking about moving to Montgomery County, you want to check out the different areas, I have a lot of videos in my library, so definitely check them out. So what's the bottom line? I gotta tell you, I've lived in both. I was born in DC, and then my dad lived in DC, and my mom lived in Maryland, and they both offer great things. If you're more interested in an urban setting and you want a metro that will take you everywhere with restaurants and museums and everything really within walking distance, well then obviously you should pick DC. If you prefer a bigger backyard and you really want that 2-car garage and you want more green space, well then Maryland is a great choice. The nice thing is that you actually get to enjoy both of them no matter where you live, because they border each other. There are many nights where we just drive into DC to go catch a show or go to a restaurant, and then come back out in Maryland and head to the park the next day. And you also have Northern Virginia, which is right across the river. So if you're interested in what Northern Virginia looks like compared to Maryland, well definitely check out this video next. Hope you got some value out of today's video. It's a big choice deciding where to live. And if you are thinking about moving to the DC area and you would like our help, just send us an email. We'll set up a Zoom, we'll get you started. We've helped a lot of families move into the area, and we will make it as seamless as possible. And if you want to show our channel some support, definitely smash that like button, comment below, and subscribe to our channel. It just motivates us to make more videos. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Bye!